Namaskar to all, and thank you, Professor Vibha Singh Chauhan, for being with us this afternoon, despite your very, very busy schedule, and supporting us all in all our endeavors in providing this very succinct introduction to the topic of globalization to the panelists and to us all. It was so well explained that it makes my job much easier. And morning, Professor Antonio Marco from Brazil and Professor Miguel Rocha from Portugal. And good afternoon to everybody joining from India. And a very, very warm welcome to the Frank Thakurdas Memorial Lecture Series. It's indeed a great pleasure and privilege to have two professors from two different continents of the world. Professor Marco is from South America, and Professor Miguel is from Europe, addressing the students of the University of Delhi in India. So the event could not have been more representative of the contemporary networked era in which we exist. And I have known Professor Antonio Marco and Professor Miguel Rocha for about 6 years now, and our association began in 2015 during our first book project on corporate social responsibility and sustainable development in emerging economy, which was subsequently published by the Roman Littlefield USA. And since then, we have worked and collaborated very closely on multiple projects. So when I reached out to both of them, they were so willing and so kind in accepting to join us this afternoon and grace the event. So truly sort of appreciate your time and effort of being with us this afternoon. And I believe the students of University of Delhi are greatly going to benefit from your very scholarly and deep empirical perspective on globalization and its innumerable impact. As I mentioned, this online webinar conducted on a Zoom platform during the global pandemic and lockdown defies the sense of time and space and perhaps exemplifies an age we are living in. Globally interconnected world facilitated by the seamless communication network aided with technology and communication revolution, free flow of information, ideas, goods and services, and network civil society and community actively engaging to social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram are all the quintessential hallmark of globalization itself. However, as we know, history never follows the linear progression and is made of ups and downs, times of downward turns and times of accelerated progress. And in a way, COVID-19 has plunged us all in this, what is the Techronium VUCA, that is VUCA, which basically means we are existing in the world, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, and has also accelerated the trends and the concerns which were already discussed on the sidelines of various global summits and meets. It has, in a way, let me put it that way, center stage the concerns. These are therefore extraordinary and unprecedented times as COVID-19 has caused this mother of all disruption in the established way of functioning or shaken the status quo completely. As the pandemic is gripping the globe, its ramifications are varied and uneven across and also within the communities and also within the countries. The moral, vacacity and the economic fault lines of the neoliberal template that dominated the global agenda since 1990s is now being ripped open. So COVID-19 in a way has uncovered the dark underbelly of globalization. From beginning, neoliberal theme was whipped up with strong emotions, sentiments, and opinions. And we know that the capitalist history is dotted with equivalent moments of appalls, agony, and also very, very heightened aspirations from the outcome, positive outcome of globalization. As an ideology, we know that neoliberalism almost unapologetically venerated the market and the market mechanism. However, COVID-19 unpretentiously exposed the tyranny of profitability. That profit perhaps was the only preferred metric of neoliberal agenda. The pandemic is, in a way, testing the ethos and the edifice of the global neoliberal order. I remember, Adam Smith's famous mantra, laissez-passer and laissez-faire, which has dramatically shifted to, restes soi, which basically means staying in. So true during the current times, during the COVID times. So neoliberalism, neoliberal paradigm per se, firmly embedded on the four meticulous pillars of liberalization, privatization, globalization, and individualization, is being closely dissected to grasp the disproportionality, the divide, and the discrimination it actually perpetuated. In his very famous essay of 1989, The End of Ideology and the End of History, Francis Fukuyama boldly envisaged, particularly after the Glasnost and Perestroika and subsequent collapse of erstwhile USSR, that we have entered into an epoch of uncontested triumph of neoliberalism. This high octave cheerfulness postulated by Fukuyama in the 1990s has now given way to steady dribble of distrust and distraught about the capacity of the world system to collectively confront the mammoth social, economic, and environmental challenges we are facing. These are indeed wicked problems. And thus has today, we can say, begun the, as a ripple impact, began the ascendancy of the populist, anti-globalization, and some term it as deglobalization discourse. We are seeing the rise of new right movements, protectionism, conservatism, rise of Trump and Brexit as an incident themselves constitutes too noteworthy event in the contemporary politics. And then Joseph E. Stiglitz, the Nobel Prize winner, and also the Messiah of the globalized world, presently forecasted in just about a year back in 2019 that there were cracks emerging in the architect of indomitable liberalism. It is argued that the global development is now more about survival and about existence rather than about the progress and advancement pushed particularly by the climate change and huge inequalities as a fallout of globalization itself. The verticality of the trickle-down approach does not actually match with the vast horizontality of the COVID-19, which has driven the economic downwards spiral. Metaphorically, if I have to put it, the world economic turbine has lost the power instantly post the COVID. And in general, the response to this global pandemic has highlighted the architecture and has widened this crack in the global governance arrangements or structures. The UN's framework for immediate social economic response, which was set off post-COVID, warns that COVID-19 pandemic is far more than health crisis. It is in fact, social crisis, mental crisis, and also economic crisis. While the impact of the pandemic will vary from one country to another, from one region to another, to one class to another, to one race to another, it will most likely increase. And the already already existing, I would say, inequalities at the global scale, making achievements of inclusive development or the achievement of sustainable development goals even more urgent and difficult. So without critical social, economic responses, global suffering is only set to escalate, in a way jeopardizing the lives and the livelihood of the vulnerable and the marginalized. So as we are, in a way, poised at the cusp of a remarkable paradigm shift, we all need to embark on this profound, discerning interrogation about, I would say, are these post-COVID-19 developments then a manifestation of beleaguered capitalist order? Or B, are these shifting concerns in the global order going to strengthen protectionism and boost this inward-looking policy regimes? And if this happens, will the impulse of the globalization itself be reset? These are some of the emerging concerns and issues needing our serious deliberations, particularly from the scholars who have devoted themselves in understanding the dynamic processes of globalization, privatization, from different perspectives, or let me put it from an interdisciplinary perspective, from economic, sociological, cultural, anthropological, and political perspectives. So how do you sort of grasp and decode these unfolding rapid events and forecast what is in store for the world from here on? I mean, we undoubtedly agree that pandemic has altered the lives of 7.8 billion people in the world, pushing the governments and the markets to reassess the social economic structures of what we now term as new normal. So, so to discuss and provide a very erudite and also empirical perspective on all this and much more, we're very, very fortunate and grateful to have with us two scholars of globalization, Professor Antonio Marco Bunain and Professor Miguel Rucha. They are both, have this amazing perspective on globalization, studied from different angles and different outlooks in a way. Now let me just introduce Professor Antonio Marco, who is our first panelist. So Professor Antonio Marco is a professor for economics in the Institute of Economics at the University of Campinas, Brazil. He received his BSc degree in economics and law from the State University of Rio de Janeiro and the doctorate of economics from the University of Campinas. From the year 1989 and 1994, he worked as an economist from the Latin American and Caribbean unit of FAO in Rome. And since 1995, Professor Antonio has been active in research, teaching, technical assistance activities in many fields in collaboration with both national and international agencies and organizations. He has also worked as an advisory and consultant to several Brazilian ministries, including Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Rural and Agriculture Development, Ministry of Science and Technology. He has carried out this series of studies for international institutions, such as International Institution of Cooperation and Agriculture, Inter-American Developing Bank, IDB, World Bank, United Nations Education and Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, Food and Agriculture Organization, World Intellectual Property, International Fund for Agriculture Development, most dealing with innovative policies, agricultural policies, rural development, poverty elevation programs, and agrarian reform. And since 2001, he maintains a permanent newspaper column in the Estado de São Paulo, one of the most important, influential Brazilian newspaper dealing with economic issues in general. He's also an active lecturer in both academic and non-academic events, dealing with various themes from economic scenarios for the Brazil economy to food security and Brazilian agribusiness and economic development in general. He also led major research efforts to assess the social economic impact of World Bank Rural Poverty Combat Program in Brazilian Northeast, as well as agrarian reform programs in Brazil. He has organized, authored, and co-authored 38 books since 1989, 33 chapters. He's published 194 articles in Brazilian newspaper, more than 100 full papers published in conferences and seminars proceeding. So once again, very warm welcome to Professor Antonio, and looking forward to listening to your views. Our second panelist and guest speaker is Professor Miguel Rocha, who holds a PhD in economics from University of Évora, Portugal, and BSc and MSc in economics from Nova University of Business and Economics, Lisbon and Portugal. Presently, he is the department head of economics at Évora, after having also taught at Nova and having been a visiting professor at the University of Delhi, East Timor, Methodist University, Angola. He is an integrated researcher at CICP, Research Center in Political Science, a collaborative interdisciplinary center. Besides, he's also a collaborator of the Center of Advanced Studies in Management and Economics, University of Évora. His area of specialization of political economy, economic growth, development, land reform, international organizations, in both theoretical and applied focus in Europe and Latin America, and has also done work in ethnophysics and mathematical methods in economics. He is also associated with CERES, American Economic Association, IPSA, it's RC35 of Tech and Development, and also with Society of Advancement of Social and Economics. He has been a speaker in last few years in more than 40 conferences, namely at MIT, OECD, Milan, Chicago, and Northwestern University. He's a referee of 12 journals in his area of expertise and published wide articles in that are now almost 150, more than 150 in total scientific related activities, of which 39 potential scientific publications and proceedings. He has co-edited 3 books and 13 book chapters in renowned editors. His last co-edited book are Globalization and Agriculture, Redefining Unequal Development by Roman Littlefield, Challenges and Opportunities for Eurozone Governance, and also a Portuguese translation, and he's co-editing Economic Development and Governance by Springer. He is a member of Land Reform Assessment in Brazil and has been associated with KPMG on the Euro impact on Barclay in PLC, Portugal, and external consultant to the European Commission on Education. He is chosen for hearing panel of Portuguese Prime Minister on the economics expert on the COVID-19 unlocking and recovery of the economy. So welcome, Professor Miguel, and over to your presentation. And thank you all for being with us today afternoon for this panel discussion, and looking forward to a highly engaging and fruitful discussions subsequently for next 1 hour with all of us. Over to you.